Mr. President.
The senator from Hawaii.
Mr. President, I rise today in opposition to S3627, the so-called Pregnant Students' Rights Act. But before I begin, I want to take a moment to honor Alex Preddy and Renee Good, who were horrifically killed by DHS officers in tragic demonstrations of the lawlessness of this regime. While my Republican colleagues refuse to address this regime's rampant lawlessness in so many instances, they still find the time to propose yet another ideologically driven bill, this bill, that belies the bill's title. Let me be clear. Pregnant and parenting students deserve real support and real protections during a challenging time in their lives. Democrats have long supported policies to provide that kind of support. This bill does not meaningfully help pregnant students, nor does it protect their rights. It is yet another step in a broader war on reproductive rights and reproductive freedoms. This time, by threatening funding loss for colleges and universities that do not comply. This bill would require colleges and universities to distribute information to all students about carrying a pregnancy to term and caring for a child after birth. But it intentionally excludes information about the full range of reproductive health care options, including contraception and abortion, even where those options are legal. That is not protecting pregnant students' rights. That is government-mandated bias. Pregnant students who are legal adults do not need politicians decide which facts they are allowed to know. They need accurate, medically sound information so they can make informed decisions about what is best for their bodies, their families, and their futures. While Republicans claim that this bill is about protecting students, the reality is that this bill does nothing to actually expand protections for students. This bill creates no new rights beyond what is already provided under Title IX. It offers no guarantees of medical leave, flexible coursework, lactation accommodations, child care assistance, housing support, or financial aid protections. In other words, this bill does nothing to address the real barriers pregnant and parenting students face every day. We know those barriers are real, serious. More than 4 million college students in this country are parents. Many are working full-time while enrolled. Many face food insecurity, housing insecurity, homelessness. Student parents, particularly women, single parents, students of color, and LGBTQ+ students are less likely to graduate, not because of a lack of ability, but because they don't have access to the support they need. At the same time that the Republicans bring this bill, this hollow bill, to the floor, they are gutting the Department of Education, slashing staff at the Office of Civil Rights, and weakening enforcement of Title IX, the law that already protects pregnant and parenting students from discrimination. As written, this bill would threaten the funding the universities rely on, funds that have been under attack by this regime. Already, the Trump regime has withheld or canceled billions in grants and other funds for colleges and universities. And now, with this bill, they're threatening the further loss of funds for our colleges and universities. You know, when does this all stop? So they're doing this because they want incomplete information to be given to all students attending the universities and colleges by not providing the students the entire range of reproductive options. And that's because This isn't actually about protecting students. It's about advancing Republicans' war on reproduction rights. Mr. President, since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, Republicans have worked tirelessly to deny people access to abortion care, spread fear and confusion, and shame those who seek reproductive care. But by intentionally withholding medically accurate information from students, at a moment when access is already under attack, this bill would only further undermine access to reproductive care. If Republicans truly wanted to help students make informed decisions and prevent unintended pregnancies, they would support evidence-based policies that expand access to medically accurate information, not limit this kind of information. So policies like the Real Education and Access for Healthy Youth Act, legislation that I introduced that would expand comprehensive medically accurate sex education and ensure young people have the information, the complete range of information needed to make responsible decisions about their health and their futures. That is what real support looks like. Not censorship, not gaslighting, not ideological mandates. By withholding comprehensive, accurate information from students, my Republican colleagues' bill would deny students the dignity of making informed healthcare decisions for themselves. And it would force colleges to push biased, incomplete information to all of their students, regardless of whether they want to or not. So once again, this regime is extorting colleges to do what the regime forces them to do. Mr. President, this bill does nothing to protect the rights of students. It treats students as political pawns, endangering their health and well-being to advance Republicans' extreme anti-abortion agenda. Therefore, I urge my colleagues to vote no on advancing S. 3627 and instead join us in advancing the protections that pregnant and parenting students actually need to thrive. Mr. President, I yield back.